Hi, I'm Tony, and 11 years ago I left the UK to travel around the world. I spent the first 2 years travelling around Europe and down through Africa on my motorbike. Then I spent a year in Australia before heading into Southeast Asia with my bicycle. Now that the coronavirus restrictions have calmed down, I'm travelling around South America. Hi guys, welcome back to my vlogging series, Bikepacking through South America. In my last vlog, I'd just woken up with a hangover in the desert after partying with my couchsurfing hosts, Marcelo and Matti. We decided to stay in Bahia Inglesa for a few more days after we left Marcelo and Matti. It's a really beautiful beach, the water's like really turquoise. Even though the weather was really grey and cold while we were there, it was still really beautiful. Luckily, the owner of the campsite we were staying on offered to drive us into town, so we could take all of our boxes in her really big car. We checked into a cheap hotel near the bus station so that it would be really easy for me to carry all the boxes to the bus station, and also if we were to get rejected again, I'd be able to carry them all back. But luckily, the driver of this bus was a really nice, kind guy, and after I spoke to him, he actually took a lot of the boxes out from under the bus and reorganized them so that we could fit our boxes inside. It was really nice to actually be accepted on a bus for once, and yeah, we were just so grateful to this guy. We were also just really relieved that we had this bus journey organised. I mean, this was the next to last bus journey that we'd have to take with the boxes, the last one being the bus over the border into Bolivia, but that's something for next week's vlog. But for now, we arrived in the city of Calama and checked into another cheap hostel that was just next to the bus station, just so that it was easier to move the boxes around. We actually asked the owners of that hostel if we could leave our boxes there in storage, and they agreed, but only because we said we'd be coming back and staying there after we came back from San Pedro de Atacama. San Pedro is quite an expensive tourist town, and there's a lot of tours that take you out into the desert to see the different sites that are around there. For example, you can go and see some geysers up in the mountains, some volcanoes, go out into the desert to see the salt flats, and also see flamingos out in the lagoons. There's just so many things to do, but the tours are very expensive, and a lot of the time they don't include the entry ticket into the national park. One solution to get around this is to actually rent a car, and then you can drive to all the locations yourself, and then you only need to pay entry to the national parks if there is any entry ticket at all. I don't actually have a driver's license, so we posted in Facebook to try to find other people who would be in San Pedro at the same time, so that we could put the money together and rent a car and just share all the costs. In the end, there were 5 of us in the car. That's 2 American sisters, 1 Chilean girl, and then me and Hung. So it actually worked out a lot cheaper than paying for all the individual tours. Our first stop was Valle de la Luna, or Valley of the Moon. It's really beautiful, but to be honest, it's more kind of red than what I imagine the moon to look like. So it looks more like Mars than the moon, but still it's really beautiful to hike around there and see the different view spots. After Valle de la Luna, we went back into town and checked into a hostel. We actually stayed in like a safari tent with beds and cupboards inside. It was really big and spacious and really comfortable. And then in that evening, we went back to Valle de la Luna to watch the sunset. It's really beautiful, especially at dusk when the sun just highlights all the texture in the landscape. It's amazing. The next day we decided we were going to see the flamingos in the lagoon, so we followed Google Maps and it took us to a closed road. So we asked for some directions with some workmen that were just next to the entrance. They told us to continue down the road until we found a dirt track and then take that. But it turns out that that was just like a local back entrance to the lagoon, and our rental car just wasn't suitable for those roads, so we ended up getting bogged and we had to try to push the car out. We didn't get it out for quite a while, but it gave us time to take a break, have some lunch, and just walk around on the salt flat taking pictures. When we did eventually get out, we drove a short way down the road to the real entrance to the lagoon and went to see the flamingos. But after the hours that we'd spent stuck on the salt flats, the flamingos in the lagoon didn't seem quite so exciting. We hung out in San Pedro for a few more days, just looking around the town. It's a really beautiful little town. Like, all the buildings are made from like mud bricks, so they've all got like the same color and texture as the desert around them. It's really nice. From San Pedro, we took the local bus back to Calama and started to organize our trip over the border into Bolivia. We found a bus company that would take the bikes, and they actually guaranteed that we could go on the bus with the bikes, which was a huge relief. They even said that we could drop the bikes off the day before and leave them at the bus station so that they would load them like cargo going under the bus. And that brings us up to the end of my journey in Chile and just about to cross the border into Bolivia. I'll be back with another vlog next week that will detail how we got across the border, the requirements for crossing the border, and also our first week in Bolivia, where we went to camp on the Uyuni salt flats. Thank you for joining me on my trip so far. Please like, share and subscribe so that you can stay up to date with my progress as I continue to bike pack through South America.